Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Fred Razak at CMTrading. Today is February 27, 2019, and today is Wednesday morning. So looking at the major economic events of the day, out of Canada, 3:30 South Africa time, we have a monthly CPI number. It's an inflationary report number that comes out. I'm not too sure if there's going to be any surprises there, but you do want to know that it is coming out. And then later in the day at 4:45 South African time, out of United States, Fed Chairman Powell will be testifying in front of Congress. He's the chairman of the Federal Reserve. So that's an important event that comes out. Usually traders are keying into some of his testimony to see if there's any directions of the interest rates. Okay, if he's keying us into anything that he's concerned about, either inflationary issues and such. So that's an important event to actually be aware of those items coming out later today. Now, looking at the markets, GBP and Aussie dollar hover near resistance, whereas the Japanese yen is actually continuing to strengthen versus the dollar. So across the board, dollar getting a little bit weaker as we enter this week. Now, looking at the Dow Jones, it tapers off below 26,000 after yesterday's consumer confidence number. There wasn't enough confidence to carry the markets up to 26,500. But it could also be because Trump is meeting with the premier of North Korea, correct? So that could actually bear into some of the geopolitical issues into the markets. Now, looking at commodities, we're steady there, so I'm not too concerned about that. And lastly, looking at stocks, Apple looked like it was going to make a break on the downside yesterday after a gap. We did have that move, but it made a correctional move right afterwards. It does show some resilience there. We'll take a look at that and see some other opportunities for today's trading. So we're looking here at a daily chart of the GBP, and as you can see, we're hovering right here a multi-week resistance. Okay, weeks. Okay, let's call that weeks, not week that it's week. So if it does push this above this 132.64, we could see a major correctional move here in the GBP USD. This is really a very important move. So out of all the pairs against the dollar, the GBP looks the strongest. Now that's what I'm going to be looking for later today to see that it does, continue this breakout on the top side. It's gotten stronger after its rally, retracement, and now rally with some, let's call it some umph. If you look at the green bars up, they're much larger and much more vicious on the upside, and that carries in with it some volume. Okay, so that actually may continue on the upside. Now, if it does continue on the upside, this is monumental because this is already a multi-week event that it's been trying to hit this upper resistance and not breaking above it. So really an important event, and keep an eye on this later today if it does trade. Now, looking at the Aussie dollar, same story, but it's faltering here at 71.90. I mean, it's in a relatively 100 pip range here between 71.90 and 86-ish level. So with that said, okay, I would look in for some sort of catalyst to take us higher. Okay, that's what I'd be looking for. Looking at the Euro USD, we did rally, but we're not up there in the resistance area. We're not at 114.81. So clearly the euro being the weakest out of the three major pairs versus the dollar. So it's important to note that, because if this does sell off and does correct itself, we may see this back in the 112-ish area. Now, looking at commodities, really very flat this week. Trading 1326, no real big move. We do have support at 1325, so just be aware of that. Looking at oil as well, we sold off here to the middle of the range after Donald Trump's tweet earlier in the week, and then we're trading at $55, okay, which is for all intents and purposes factored into what's happening geopolitically, what's happening in the output of oil, so on and so forth. So I'm not too concerned there. I do think that we'll continue trading between these two ranges. Now, looking at that Dow Jones, so we're looking at a daily chart, looking at a 1 week chart. So on a 4-hour chart, we're looking at retrace from 26,195 down to 26,980-ish level. So it's not big retracement. Okay, we've rallied over 5,000 points. Okay, so a little bit of a sell-off here does not mean that we're going back down. However, okay, with that said, that we're about 500 to 600 points, about 700 points at this stage from our all-time highs at 26,600-ish level. It's a point of concern. Okay, I don't see that we're expanding to the 27,000 yet. However, okay, I do believe that we're not going back down to 24,000 anytime soon either. So what I believe is that we'll be trading within a range until there's some sort of catalyst, like I said, to take us either higher or lower. And it just seems like everything is just steady. It's waiting for some sort of news to come out to give us that direction. Now, looking at Apple stock, this is what I was talking about yesterday. You know, it looked like it was going to break this level at $73, 173. It did break it, but then, you know, very resilient afterwards. Okay, so we're pretty much have set ourselves a little bit of a support line here at 173. Now, the next time this breaks, okay, and if it does break with some momentum, we could possibly see it back into the 172-ish area. Now, this is not big ranges for Apple. Apple's $170 share, and it should move within $3 to $4 within a day. So to move in $1 event is relatively decent. Okay, relatively to what we've been trading recently. Okay, so we're trading in really a tight move altogether, 172 to 173.75 levels, $1.50. It's not a bad move, but that actually may close the gap. So I'd keep an eye on that later today to see if that does actually fruit. Now, the markets are strong. Okay, so with that said, okay, just be careful, because if there's any sort of positive news coming out of the North Korea US summit, then we may see this market just rally up to 26,500-ish levels. So be aware of it. Okay, so I think that people are just keeping their hands off the keyboard just to see what's going to happen and how things are actually unfolding in the markets and unfolding in the news. This is Fred Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.